Alright boys and girls, and welcome to my preview of Arsenal against Southampton this weekend. Now, you kind of sit there from an Arsenal perspective and you say, it's a pointless game. We know we're not going to get into the top four in the Premier League. And the most important thing is the Europa League. But we have to go about our business and we have to play these games. And if winning breeds a bit of confidence and it helps us during the Europa League, then I'm all for it. This is a huge game for Southampton. If you would have told me at the start of the season that they would be in the relegation zone at this point, I would never have believed you, because they're one of the most consistent Premier League teams. They've been here for a long time, and it just seemed inconceivable that they would get themselves into this mess. But they are in this mess. They are in a serious relegation dogfight. And if they don't start winning, they're going to find themselves even more trouble and they're going to end up getting relegated. It is as simple as that. When we go into their Premier League record this season, they of course are in the relegation zone, third from bottom. They've played 31 games, so they've only got 7 left. They've won 5, drawn 13, lost 13, and their goal difference is minus 18. Now they're sitting on 28 points. And they're a couple of points behind Crystal Palace, although they do have a game in hand. So the more they keep losing, the more that they're going to keep finding themselves falling away. But sorry, I'm an Arsenal fan, and I just want to cause more misery on you lot, and we need to get the 3 points. Now, as I said, it's one of those games for us where, you know, we're kind of just going along. We haven't really got much to play for in the Premier League, apart from a bit of pride and apart from building a bit of momentum. Now, we had a brilliant result in the Europa League last week against Moscow, where we won 4-1. But the tie is still not over. If we would have scored a few goals in the second half, maybe made it 6-1, then I would have said, you know what, we could go out to Russia with quite a second string side. But with it being where it is and the importance of it, I feel we need to take our main players out to Russia, which means that I'm going to use this game to make the changes. Also, 3 days after the game out in Russia, we play against Newcastle away. Now, with all due respect to Southampton, playing them at home in comparison to Newcastle away, I think will be a lot easier. Like I said, with all due respect, that's not being disrespectful. I think we need a bit of a stronger side when we go to Newcastle next week. So this is the game where I'm going to give some of our key players a rest. Pretty much all of them, in fact. I'm going to go for a really different 1 to 11. So as usual, let me know in the comments section whether you agree or what your 1 to 11 would be. What I'm going to start off with is this. In goal, David Ospina. Now, it looks to me like Arsene Wenger swapped things around. He said, obviously, how important the Europa League is, so he's putting Cech in goal in that, and Ospina will play in the league. Some have said that, you know, Cech had a little knock, that's why Ospina played against Stoke, and then some say Ospina had a little knock, which is why Cech played against Moscow. Well, we'll find out on Sunday what the case will be. In defence, I'm going to completely change this around. I'm going to take them all out. In centre defence, I'm going to start off with Callum Chambers. And I'm going to bring Laurent Koscielny out. We all know about his long-standing injury, so I'm going to bring him out because he's too important to lose. Alongside him, I'm going to go with Rob Holding, and I'm going to bring Mustafi out. Again, Mustafi is important. Made a stupid error against CSKA Moscow, but we need him there. And we can't afford him to get injured at the moment. So that's what I'm going to go with in the centre. In the left-back role, we're going to go with Kolasinac. And obviously, I'm going to bring Monreal out. Pretty self-explanatory. On the right-hand side, I'm going to bring Hector Bellerin out. And I'm going to bring in Maitland-Niles. Not ideal playing Maitland-Niles there because he is a midfielder. But we don't have any other right-back options. And I'm going to give Hector Bellerin a rest for this game. We go into the midfield area, and first of all, that defensive kind of area, I'm going to bring Granit Xhaka out of the side, and I'm going to bring in Mohamed El Neni. I think this guy's played really well lately. It's been unlucky not to start, but he's on the edges. But for these kind of games, he's perfect. So I'm going to bring El Neni in for this one. Moving into the other midfield areas, obviously they've been taken up by Aaron Ramsey and Jack Wilshere. I'm going to bring both of them out for this game. Jack Wilshere, I don't think he's been playing that well lately. Seems to have had a bit of a dip in form. Aaron Ramsey, he's been absolutely superb. Superb again the other night against CSKA Moscow, and he's so important. So we're going to take no chances whatsoever with him. And the first player that I'm going to bring in is Alex Iwobi. Now, he came off the bench the other night against Moscow. I thought he'd done really well in his little 10-15 minutes. Could have had a shot when he got put clean through. Tried to lay it off to Lacazette. Apart from that, yeah, it was a decent performance. Alongside him, I'm going to play Reiss Nelson in his preferred position in that central role. Give the youngster a chance. He ain't going to get many more chances this season. We haven't really had a chance to see him in his preferred position. He's either been playing, you know, right wing back and a lot more on the defensive side. So be nice for him to get a game. Nice to see what he can do in the Premier League in that midfield role. Going to go with the attackers now. Of course, we've lost Henrik Mkhitaryan. We don't know the extent of that, but I think that's going to be a massive loss because since he's joined from Manchester United, he's been absolutely brilliant. So first player we're going to put in there, we're going to go with Danny Welbeck. Again, you know, it is what it is. He hasn't been performing. He played really well against Milan, but apart from that, he just hasn't been doing anything. But he can certainly be the experienced player within this team, and he can cause some problems if he's doing what he can do on his day. But we'll wait and see whether he does or not. So we're going to go with Danny Welbeck. Alongside him, we're going to go with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Now, this is pretty straightforward decision, this one, because he can't play in the Europa League, so he's going to play all of the Premier League games. Now, based on who I'm putting up top, I'm going to move Aubameyang more to the left-hand side. Now, he's going to drift in and out of his striker's role, but I think that he can stretch Southampton and cause them a lot of problems, especially when getting in behind. Because up front, as the main striker, I'm going to go with Alexandre Lacazette. Now, some people might say this is a risk because he's so important to us, especially in the Europa League, because Aubameyang can't play. But he has only just come back from injury. He got 20-odd minutes against Stoke, played 70-75 minutes against Moscow. So I would give him another 60-odd minutes in this game just to get a little bit more sharpness into his legs. And then he's good to go again against Moscow. And I think that that front line, that can cause a lot of problems against Southampton. So there we go. That is the 1 to 11. Let me know in the comment section, like I said, what you think of that 1 to 11. Would you change anything or would you go with that lineup? It's a very inexperienced lineup in areas, but there is also a lot of international experience in there as well. And like I said, we've got other things to worry about at the moment, more important things. This is not just throwing away what we're doing in the Premier League. It's just a simple fact of needs must. Like I said, we've got Moscow on Thursday, and this is the game where we're going to need to have the likes of Ramsey, Ozil, etc. And then obviously 3 days later, away to Newcastle. I think we need a strong lineup for that game as well, because Newcastle, they're fighting relegation, and being the fact it's at St James's Park, we're going to need some strong heads for that one. So that's why I'm going to use this game to make the changes. And then we go with much stronger lineups on Thursday and then next week. So there we go. If you're new around here, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. Keep an eye out for the matchday vlog after the game on Sunday. And then keep an eye out for the previews next week with Moscow. So over to you lot now, Arsenal. I'm out of here.
3, 2, 1.